Oh,
So, Miami mayor to become first U.S. politician to take 100% of paycheck in Bitcoin. Look at this dude, first of all, right? He's pointing. He's like, oh, you already know, right? That's what he's saying. He's like, you already know I'm into Bitcoin, right? So it says the mayor of Miami, Francis Suarez, is set to become the first United States politician to take home their paycheck in Bitcoin. The latest development comes after a Twitter exchange between the Bitcoin-friendly mayor and popular crypto proponent Anthony Pompliano. Pomp put up a tweet requesting a U.S. politician to take his bait and become the first in history of the nation to accept their paycheck in Bitcoin. Within less than 20 minutes after the post, Florida's mayor, Francis, accepted the offer. It says, I'm going to take the next paycheck 100% in Bitcoin. Problem solved. Miguel, I'm not going to go too far into this article. What does this article say to you as you look at this? What does this story tell you?
so this is the obvious answer, right? We are seeing the Bitcoin mining transfer over to the United States. I think the United States holds over 35% now of the
Yep.
entire global mining hash for Bitcoin. We are seeing more and more politicians coming out bullish on Bitcoin. I believe we had Cynthia Loomis recently come out, and I think it was Randall Paul or something like that.
Raul
Yeah,
Paul. Yeah.
yeah. No, not Raul Powell.
Oh,
The politician Randall or Rand Paul, something like that.
okay.
That he came out saying that the Bitcoin standard should be added. Like that is the future, right?
Yeah.
Pegging the U.S. dollar to Bitcoin, and this is what's happening. The stance on the United States is changing for Bitcoin because the politicians themselves are saying, wait a minute, we're not going to miss out on this ride just because we don't have regulations, right? We know what's happening with the dollar, and we know that this is the greatest transfer of wealth happening. I'm going to take the risk. Even if they see it as a risk, they say, I'm willing to take X amount of payments in Bitcoin just so that I know at least I have some Bitcoin secured forever.
Yeah.
And, just let it run.
I mean, literally, Miguel. I think that when we hear stories like this, I think for me, it says this is the real deal, right? When listen, now over the years, you that we've been in this, you always hear the same type of narratives. It's good, it's bad. They're gonna ban it. It's going to zero. You hear everything from it's going to the freaking sun, right? Past the moon to the sun, to it's going to zero.
Yeah.
And so I think that there cannot be this many delusional people, right? The reality is Bitcoin is the quote, this is probably an interesting way of putting this, but gold standard at this point. We
Yeah.
are in a digital revolution. This is the new revolution. And if you haven't realized it yet, everything you do is digital as it is. Literally freaking everything. So why would listen, our dollars aren't backed by gold, right? So why would we continue to why would we believe that our archaic banking system will never change? It has
Yeah.
changed over the years and changed and changed and changed. And that guess what? Now we are to the point where it is literally going 100% digital. I love that the mayor is supporting this. He does have his own, kind of reasons for this too. He is pushing his city to become, Bitcoin city or
Yeah.
whatever crypto city, right? That is bullish for him. He knows that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to take to that. It
He's
sets
got
him
my vote.
apart. Yeah, I mean, exactly, right? It sets him apart from other people and it says, you know what? This guy is forward thinking. You don't
Yes.
have to like the cryptocurrency market, but what you do have to do at this point is respect it. When people jump
Yes.
in to my live streams and start saying cryptocurrency is a pyramid scheme, it's a scam. Really, it's a $2.75 trillion scam at this point. So
Yeah.
some of the most intelligent, brightest minds in the world are involved in this scam. No, the only scam that you can come up with is that's the reason that you come up with and tell yourself at night before you lay your head down on the pillow, for the reason why you're not on board with it and why you're not making the insane money that myself and many others, including Miguel, have been making over these last 5 years.
Yeah, man.
So,
And I think it shows. I think it shows that younger politicians that are coming into the space are understanding what is happening in the future. They're adopting Bitcoin by individually themselves, and they're going to slowly, with time, as newer politicians jump in and filter out the older politicians, and they could leave
Yep.
Congress, right? They will be adopting a more friendly stance towards Bitcoin and pushing for friendlier regulation, even maybe to that point of eventually being on a Bitcoin standard.
Yeah.
I mean, I just see it. I don't see that not being a discussion happening at least in the next 10 to 15 years. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow, right? We have to wait for these older politicians to really come out, newer politicians to get on the trend. And eventually in the next 15, 20 years, they're going to be, when Bitcoin, right? If Bitcoin's going to hit $1 million plus 2025 in the next 3 years, 15 years down the line, 20 years down the line, when the politicians start talking about, hey, this Bitcoin thing, we need to fix our dollar. And the only solution we got is Bitcoin. It's been around long enough. We understand it now. We trust it. It's done amazing. And boom, I think that even if it doesn't happen, the discussion will happen.
Yeah, I think the discussion's probably already been happening, but we know that the banks who control ultimately what really happens are the ones that are fighting against this tooth and nail, right? The biggest problem that we have in our political system is the lack of term limits on some levels, right? Because the reality is a lot of these people should not, and I don't listen, there's a lot of incredibly intelligent older people, right? But a lot of these people have no business, right? Not just Brandon, but there's a lot of other people, right, that have no business in the position that they're in, right? And so some of that needs to change, and the fiscal policy that that we look at and we see happening needs to change. And I think a big part of that change will be younger individuals, not just because of their age, but just because of what they were raised with, how they, understand and perceive technology. They're going to be the ones that are going to do that. So super bullish on it.
Yeah, 100%, dude.
Let's talk.